Okay, cool. I think I'm live, hopefully. Welcome back to Conscientious Omnivore. My name is Pal. Today I was supposed to be doing a live stream with Ellie, as I gave the announcement yesterday, but we're going to have to reschedule that. So it might be happening tomorrow, I'm not sure. We're going to square that away, and then hopefully maybe at the same time tomorrow. But I didn't want to leave anybody hanging, and we were going to be starting in a few minutes, and I have a little bit of time right now anyway, so I'm going to do a Q&A. I'll just give it a minute or two for people to join. Hopefully some people will jump in. Don't have anybody watching yet, at least that's what it looks like, but we will see what's up. I didn't really have any topics per se for today, because I really want to save that topic for tomorrow with Ellie. But yeah, I think hopefully if anybody comes in and they want to ask me anything, then I'll be happy to do a Q&A. So let's see what's going on. I guess in the meantime, what I'll do is I'll just show you something that I was reading just now. Oh, it looks like we got somebody coming in. Hey, don't know who it is, but please feel free to type in any question and I will try to answer it. It's going to be an informal Q&A today. And I guess if you're bashful, that's fine too. You can just watch. I'm going to show a quick article that I was reading. It has to do with running. Where was my screen? Here it is. Oh, is it showing the right one? Hold on. Yeah, there it is. This lady has completed a ridiculously hard race. She's 35 years old. She's a mother of one, and she finished this 268-mile race over the course of 83 hours, 12 minutes and 23 seconds. It goes from Derbyshire to the Scottish borders. I have no idea physically where that is. I didn't look on a map yet, and I just read through most of the article, but it's absolutely mind-boggling. She was actually expressing breast milk throughout the race at some points, I guess, just to kind of clear the pressure. Her baby was at home, and it's not like she needed the milk during the race. She had frozen milk, but she just needed to do that during the race, and she still like beat the I guess the course record. I don't even think it's like the woman's record. I think she just beat the course record period by more than 12 hours. She just like killed it. And she's not a professional athlete. She's a I guess just like a dedicated hardcore amateur athlete. I hate using that word, but you guys know what I mean, that she's not in she's not paid like professionally to be a racer. And yeah, her 14-month-old daughter was at the finish line to meet her, and she just describes how the race was. She only slept for 3 hours. I don't even think she did that in one batch actually throughout that whole ordeal. So that's an 83 hours 83 hours and 12 minutes. That is insane. I mean, that is so beyond ridiculous. She said it was absolute torture and really hard, and but she did awesome. And yeah, she beat the pants off of the course record, and she beat the previous one of the previous winners, I guess, who was going neck and neck with her, and she was leading him throughout the race, this guy Eugeni Rossello Sole, and he had to bail out at the end, 6 kilometers before the end, because I guess he was just doing so poorly from sleep deprivation. So she was hallucinating and all this kind of stuff, and yeah, she said it's the hardest race I've done due to the amount of time and the weather-wise. I'm really happy because I gave it my best shot. I raced hard and gave it the best I could. It's been a life-affirming experience, and it took me a couple weeks to recover from the effort and cost it took. So this is pretty amazing. She's an incredible person. It looks like she's writing her PhD thesis as well, and she took a week-long break to do this race. It's just unbelievable. So yeah, kudos to this lady. She is pretty amazing, and yeah, they said it's an incredible feat, and that is no joke. So holy cow, man! Hats off to this lady. What was her name? Hold on. A Midlothian mother, Jasmine Paris. She's 35 years old. Incredible. So anyway, let me just go back here. Let's see if we got more people in. We got 2 people in. Hi, Bev. How you doing? So I kind of just I wanted to let everybody know that I'm not going to be doing the live stream with Ellie today. So we have to reschedule that. So she had a conflict that came up kind of last minute, and it's probably going to happen tomorrow. I'm not sure, but yeah, I guess I'll do my best. We're going to try and get it to be around the same time tomorrow. And in the meantime, I figured since I actually have a little bit of time, I could just do a Q&A and basically just like talk to you guys about whatever you want to hear about, give you my opinion on whatever questions you might have, and yeah, basically yeah, just chat for a little bit, and then I'm gonna go and get the kids and get them to sleep and stuff. But for the next like maybe 45 minutes, an hour, we could just do a Q&A type thing. Justin from work, happy to be home. How's you? Yeah, I'm pretty good, Bev. Thanks for asking. I have been looking at like real estate pretty much nonstop, like with my wife for just like the past few weeks. We're still very much in the process of the bureaucracy on selling the existing house. So that's going well. It's already past the point of no return, so that's good. I feel everything's like, you know, on track. It's just a matter of like, you know, going through all the rigmarole. So that's really cool. But we're obviously doing a lot of just looking at places. We just looked at a place today as well. There's a lot of trade-offs. Like we're only going to have like a certain amount of money, so we have to be really cautious of kind of how far we can extend ourselves, and you know, not having a job right now, like I won't be able to get a loan from a bank. So it's like we really need to be able to do just like a cash-only deal. It kind of limits us. Hi, Palin Ho, how are you, man? Welcome. So yeah, see a couple more people have joined. So really just for everybody who just came in, I'm just going to be doing a quick Q&A because we have to reschedule the live stream with Ellie about the UK hunting. So hopefully that'll happen tomorrow. But we're going to confirm actually tomorrow, so it's not 100% sure yet. And I also got a handy-dandy new camera, and hopefully the sound is a lot better. I did a quick test recording with it, and I think the picture and the sound is like miles better than the crappy one I was using before. Shout out to my brother for hooking me up with this thing. It's like his camera, but he's not using it at the moment, so he said I could borrow it kind of indefinitely for now. So so yeah. Moving to the countryside, Piano asks, sort of. We're not really sure yet. So like, more than likely, yes, that is going to be what we're going to do, because that seems to be kind of the best trade-off between getting a place that's decent and livable and also a big garden. So yeah, we're looking at kind of still like near Budapest, so like within maybe, you know, that 30 to 50 kilometers like radius around Budapest. Nothing like too far, but far enough away that it'll be hopefully cheaper than where we are now, because we're like just outside of Budapest, so it's just too expensive here now. The real estate market is just absolutely insane. I'm sure you know, but for anybody who's watching not in Hungary, like the past few years, like maybe 2 years or so, there's been a huge boom in the real estate market here in Hungary, and things are just like crazy expensive, and I really believe it's kind of a bubble, so I don't think it's going to last forever, but you know, we really do need to get our own place, and since we were at least able to get our money back from the other house sale, or at least it's in the process of getting our money back, I feel like, you know, as long as we're like kind of selling high and buying high, it's probably hopefully going to work out in the end, but we'll see. Bev asks, I have a question regarding veganic gardening. Just taking on an allotment and haven't seen the plot yet, so wondering for any beginner tips and traps to avoid. Yes, you did ask on the live stream about any books. So here's the thing. I actually haven't read any veganic books per se. All the stuff I've read has all been more like permaculture based, so there's always kind of an element of some kind of like animal farming mentioned in it as well. Some of the books that I would still really highly recommend are ones that I enjoyed. One of them is called Permaculture. That's the title of the book, Permaculture by Sepp Holzer. And that book is really, really good. It's definitely not like veganic because, like I say, he talks about kind of like you know, raising pigs and chickens and ducks and that kind of stuff, but that's not really the focus. Like the main focus of the book really is kind of like the food forest style, fruit trees, you know, fruiting bushes, things like that, and vegetable garden as well. It's just that he also does kind of the animal parts of the farming as well, but again, it's really more around the orchard, so I would definitely recommend that. In fact, I'm going to share my screen, and I mean, I don't know how legal or not legal it is, but I mean, if you literally just go to like Google and just type in Sepp Holzer permaculture, like it's gonna be like, you can find the PDF like somebody's got it up. I've found it online just as a sheer PDF. I think this is it right here. So it's like, boom, like don't even need to spend money on it. I don't know like who this person is or what site this is, leotiger.com, but if you just go here, read this book. I think this is a really, really good book. Super, super helpful. He talks about different kinds of soil that you might encounter, what kind of you know, things you need to put in there, if it's like high nitrogen or low nitrogen, what kind of plants you can start there. He talks like just really in depth about all kinds of stuff, designing the landscape, what you want to consider like sunny, draining, like for moisture. He talks about building little ponds. Obviously that's probably beyond, you know, you just getting an allotment, that you're working in a community garden style setting, but just more along the lines of like thinking and understanding how things work. Like, you know, you'll be able to see the plot and kind of picture things, look at like where the wind is coming from. He talks a lot about using plants as wind breaks. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here, and it's really, really good. I definitely recommend this book. So here he is. He's talking about light and heavy soil, indicator plants. So if you have weeds that are already there, based on the types of plants that are growing, you can actually, generally speaking, figure out what kind of balance that soil has, and then it'll give you a good idea of what is a good idea to grow in there and what will do well without having to amend it, and then you can gradually change it with the things that you're planting in there. So Bev, I would definitely recommend reading this book. It's really, really helpful, and you can see the you know, the titles here talking about raised beds, you know, waterscapes. He's talking about alternatives to various things, the plant diversity, what things, you know, grow well with each other. So like, what are the things that you want to plant next to each other, so that you don't have to use pesticides, chemicals. He's very much just like all about like natural, like, you know, no pesticides, no you know, artificial fertilizers or anything. And all of the stuff he says is really things that you can do without any kind of animal manure as well. So I would say a combination of like this book is a really great place to start, and then just look at all the videos about the mulching and Back to Eden. There's stuff that I've done on my channel, but I would also recommend going and watching, just like binge watch James Prigione's channel. So if you go to YouTube and look for, I think it's called The Gardening Channel with James Prigione. I think that's the full title of it. But if you just type in James Prigione, you will see it. And this guy's channel is just, I just find it to be stellar. Like, hopefully this comes up. Yeah, this is it. The Gardening Channel with James Prigione. Subscribe to his channel. And he's not veganic either. Like, he has some chickens and stuff, But man, this guy, just like the stuff he gives you, the information he gives you about using mulch and the deep ground cover and all this kind of stuff. I mean, this guy really knows his stuff. I would definitely recommend him. So yeah, read the Holzer book, and then like just watch stuff about like Back to Eden method. The guy who kind of came up with, I guess, the term Back to Eden is Paul Gauci. There's a really great video that you can find on YouTube as well. It's like about an hour and a half long. I would recommend watching that too. Just type in like Back to Eden Paul Gauci, and that'll come up too. So let me jump back to see what kind of questions we've got. Oh, and I just saw your comment too about sending me Calm Camera. Thank you. That's very much appreciated. Palin Host says Russian money is keeping prices high. Well, I mean, there's a lot of foreign investment. I would say it's certainly not just any one you know, country or nationality. There's a lot of different investors coming in from all over Europe, from Asia. There's like a lot of Chinese investors. I know some people who are selling apartments now, and they've got Brazilian investors and like people from South America, like other countries in South America. I mean, it's just all over. So hi Carrie, I see you're on too. Cool. Yeah, so I would say there's just like a lot going in, and really it's kind of like, I mean, there's a lot of subsidy action going on now, so a lot of people are building that wouldn't have been building without the government subsidies. So it's really kind of a combination of everything, I would say. Bev says that's excellent. Oh, you're very welcome. Certainly we'll be downloading that. Great to get names to look for, then it all branches from there. Yeah, definitely. The SEP book is like bang on. I really enjoyed reading that book. If you want to just be generally inspired, I would say just read anything by Fukuoka, Masanobu Fukuoka. That's kind of the book that got me really inspired about getting into farming, and I would definitely recommend that. You can actually probably find that PDF online with a super quick Google search as well. The main book, his first book, is called The One Straw Revolution, and I would say you know, read that too. But the reason why I recommend the SEP book, if you want to actually go and start doing stuff, is that he gives you very specific things that you can actually go and do like right away, whereas the Masanobu Fukuoka book is more kind of like almost like a spiritual, like a guidance, or like an inspiration of why you want to even garden at all, and talking about nature, and just kind of it's a very like spiritual kind of like book. And for me, like, it's not very practical. Like, he doesn't tell you specific things that you can go and like, oh, okay, this is what I plant next to this and that, and this is how I check the, you know, the type of soil I've got and whatever. And SEP is like, it's just like boom, 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 boom. Like, this is what you do, and you'll be growing stuff, and it'll work. Like, it's just really, really good. Definitely. And then if you want to read the other one too, I would recommend it as well. But like, that's not gonna, in my mind, get you kind of like on the track, you know, on track as much. So yeah. Palenho says 99% of the buyers are Russians in the Zona Media. Yep. Yeah, I mean, and then in other parts of the Balaton, there's a lot of Germans. So it's like, I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of Russian buying happening here in Budapest as well. Like, there's just tons of like foreign investors. I think and also, sorry, Ukrainians too. There's a lot of Ukrainian money. Several of my now former coworkers, they were selling stuff, or like you know, renting things out or whatever to Ukrainian investors. So when there was all of the kind of turmoil happening there, I think a lot of Ukrainian money came here because it's still kind of like, you know, relatively cheap compared to like other Western countries. It's pretty stable. You know, kind of work-wise, there's been a lot of investment, a lot of foreign companies coming into Hungary and Budapest specifically, and I think that just kind of attracts a lot of people. So a lot of people come and visit just for like a weekend and stuff. It's a pretty cheap destination, especially from like the western parts of Europe. So people from the UK often will come here even for like a bachelor party. They'll stay for like a weekend, and it's really cheap, you know, compared to prices like in the UK. So getting like a bed and breakfast, or a you know, Airbnb, kind of like a really nice apartment, and then you can be like right in the middle of Budapest. So it's like, I'm not surprised that the real estate would have gotten a little bit more expensive, but the prices now are just they're just so expensive that it's kind of like almost like U.S. prices, but for the most part, like nobody's earning that kind of money. Very few people are earning, you know, that kind of money. In my experience, like, I mean, in my job in IT, like, I'm probably, you know, roughly at half of where I would have been if I stayed in the U.S. So, like, seeing prices that are almost as bad as, like, you know, the greater Boston area, that's like not a good thing when you're getting paid half as much. So, yeah. But anyway, we're happy as long as, you know, we can find some place that's, you know, even like within that like roughly hour or so distance of Budapest. I think that will work for us. And I think I'm pretty optimistic that we'll find some place that will work. For us, really, you know, having a good sized garden is really important. Obviously, that's like something that I'm like really keen on expanding our growing, and really kind of like doing a walipini or, you know, stuff like that. That's kind of like a big dream that I have, is if we get our housing situation settled, the like first thing I want to do is get a walipini built and get my citrus plants into the ground. Renting is now pointless. You can get a cheaper loan to pay for the property. Yep. And the Airbnb thing is making renting a place almost impossible. But anyway, good luck finding a nice place. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that, man. I agree with you. For a lot of people, like, it depends on how much money you obviously have to have some kind of down payment that you can put in. Right now, the interest rates are, historically speaking, like in Hungarian terms, they're really low. So it's like you can get a really good deal on a mortgage and probably pay less in your monthly mortgage payment than you would be for just renting a place. So at that point, a lot of people think of it in like, okay, I'm just throwing money down the drain, like renting a place. Why don't I just buy a place? But there are still a lot of people buying places for investment. So I mean, I had coworkers that you know, they had money set aside and they were just buying a place, and some people weren't even renting it out. It depends on like kind of what they were doing. Some people were buying it for their kids for later, and some people were doing it for the Airbnb kind of thing, if it was in a good location, like centrally located, or at least like good public transportation options were around. Yeah, then it kind of makes sense. Like, you're going to get more from renting it out or doing an Airbnb than you would get from having your money in the bank, because right now the interest rates are so low. It kind of mirrors like what happened in the U.S. like really for quite a number of years now, that the interest rates are like so low that you just don't really get any money from keeping your money in like a secure, you know, standard savings account. You're getting like nothing. Like, you're getting 1/3% or 1/4% or whatever for a yearly return. And as long as you're willing to, I don't know, fix up a place and rent it out and stuff, you can hopefully get more money than that. So yeah, see a couple more people joined. Don't know if anybody has any other questions. Is anybody else gardening or like getting ready? We have snow on the ground here still, so it's kind of funny because like we're kind of in the hills, and you know, there's still probably a good 4 or 5, I don't know, maybe 6 inches of snow on the ground in various places in the more shady spots. But today was like really kind of the first warm day. We had up to I think it was like 7 degrees today. It was really nice, but there's still a bunch of snow on the ground. But if I go into like the city, it's like there's nothing. It's just a huge difference. I'm already thinking about getting all my seedlings going in like maybe another, I don't know, 2 months or so, month and a half from now. Ooh, today was 15 degrees here. Yeah, like out by the Balaton. You guys always have a little bit warmer temperatures. That's nice. That's actually an area of the country that I was definitely kind of keen on going towards, is like being by the lake. If anybody doesn't know, like Lake Balaton is the biggest lake here in Hungary. It's actually, I think, either the second biggest lake in Europe or something like that. And it's really beautiful. It's like, I've done a video or two from there when I was on vacation in the summer, and it's just beautiful. But they have a very temperate kind of climate like right around it, because it's like an inland sea kind of almost. So there's like fig trees and stuff that will grow out there very nicely. I really like that. Oof, Carrie, that's brutal. Minus 23 Celsius this weekend. Oh my God, that's cold. Oh, so no gardening for you yet. Ouch. That, yeah, stay warm. Stay inside, or go snowshoeing or something. I don't know. Wow, that's cold. I mean, here where I live, like, cold is probably like anything below minus 10. That's really cold. We don't often see that, but like up to around minus 10 is pretty common in the winter. And then I think usually like the coldest we've had is probably like maybe minus 20. And that was for like, I don't know, a few days in a row, and then that was it. That was probably like the coldest I saw last year. Oh, Peter. Hi, Peter. I'm a landscape gardener. Cool. Like for like a job, like professionally, you do that for other people. That's great. You must see a lot of different kind of designs and requests for people. Smattering of snow here. First of the season, Sheffield, Yorkshire, UK. Okay, yeah. So, wow, that's kind of late, huh? Or you must not get a lot of snow then. Probably cold and rainy though. Carrie, no, it's not going to be the hunting live stream. Sorry if anybody else joined too for that. Unfortunately, I had to reschedule that, so Ellie won't be able to make it tonight. So we're gonna probably end up doing it tomorrow. I'm gonna still confirm that. But I just figured, since I had promised it in the announcement that I was going to be doing it, I figured I'll just jump on and do a quick Q&A. So this is just kind of like a random Q&A, and I'll try to answer anybody's questions. But I'm hoping to do the hunting live stream because I really have a bunch of things that I want to cover on that. But I want to do it with Ellie. She's actually got some really good experience with it being in the UK, and also she's done hunt sapping, so she's got a pretty unique perspective on it. And yeah, I want to make sure that we do that together. So hopefully it'll be tomorrow, but we'll see. I did just prune the grapes and cut back the asparagus. Okay, cool. Yeah, I planted asparagus for the first time this year in the garden, but I'm obviously not going to see that because we're selling the house. But yeah, I'll hopefully be planting asparagus into whatever place we do buy. And Carrie, you obviously, I'm sure, know, but like with asparagus, is it the first year or the second year when you are able to actually harvest it? I know for the first year you're not allowed to basically cut it because it's too small. You want it to like get older, and you let it grow, and then I think it's like the next year or maybe even 2 years later. Like, when do you harvest the first thing? When do you cut? I don't know. Figs are okay if you pack some mulch around them for the winter. Yeah, but I think, Valenho, you still need a pretty sunny spot, because like I know here my brother has a fig tree. He lives in the same village where I'm at, and his fig tree last year got pretty much almost wiped out. It froze all the way back down, so he pretty much only just got new shoots this spring, and all the main kind of branches he had, they all died because we had like it was like almost like a week. It was like maybe 5 days of like minus 20, and they died. And he's in an even pretty sunny spot, and he did have it mulched, but it wasn't enough to save it. I think he should have covered it with like a like a tarp or something, and then it would have probably been okay. But he didn't know, and yeah, they froze back. So but that was probably the coldest we had in, I don't know, like many years. Peter says, yeah, self-employed for 30 years. Wow, cool. So I should go to you for tips. I'm still kind of trying to work out like what I will be doing for any kind of money. Always rainy. I'm from Wales. Best flag, wettest part of the country. Yeah, I don't know how you deal with that, honestly. I like the snow. I don't mind it when it's cold, but I hate when it's rainy, because then it's just like I don't want to go running. I like running in the snow. I think it's actually really fun. I love that sound of the the crunch under your feet, and I don't even mind the cold. Like, even just the wind like blowing the snow in your face or something is like way less bad for me than just the rain. I hate like running in the rain. I'll do it sometimes, but it's just hard to motivate myself to go out into that. Oh, hey Kathy. The hunting live stream was supposed to be today. Yes, it was going to be with Ellie, who runs the Flemface channel, and I'm going to be talking with her specifically about hunting in the UK, and we're going to talk about fox hunting and trail hunting and what are those, and talk about like hunt saboteurs and what they do. But it's going to get rescheduled, so she couldn't make it tonight, and then I just figured I'd just jump on and A, test the new camera, and B, just do a Q&A. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm not available tomorrow, Carrie, but I'd love for you to address deer hunting in the U.S. The overpopulation caused by humans is out of control. Yeah, we can definitely try to talk about that too. I remember seeing many years ago a really great video by Bite Size Vegan. So Emily covered deer hunting and a bunch of other kind of like hunting, like for overpopulation problems. Like that's often one of these kind of calling cries of the hunters, where they always say like, well, we got to go shoot the deer because otherwise they'll overpopulate. And if you actually look into it, as far as I understand it, in most places the reason why you get the overpopulation is because people have killed off all the natural predators. So we've killed off all the wolves and mountain lions and anything else that would have actually preyed upon the deer, or other kind of large ruminants like that. And they do that because it competes, you know, with the livestock animals. So like if they kill the deer, they could also be, you know, maybe swiping a sheep or two every once in a while. And farmers don't want that, so they shoot all the natural predators, bears, wolves, etc. And then the other thing is that just like I talked about in the video with the live stream I did where the BLM does the thing where they rent out the pasture land for farmers. What they also do in many states is they actually cut down and manage forests in such a way that they make a lot of kind of like edge spaces that are kind of conducive to a lot of deer. Well, they'll come out into those fields and have a lot of pasture to nibble on and stuff like that. And it the combination of a lack of predators and the abundance of grazing just makes it so that there's just so many of them that they really will overpopulate, and pretty much you have to hunt them because otherwise there's just too many. But if humans simply stopped interfering with the natural kind of balance and allowed the natural predators to come back and also stopped these kind of like artificial clearings, then there wouldn't really be a need to go and hunt them by people. And also, again, there's a business side to this as well, because the issuing of the hunting licenses brings in a lot of money to the state. So that's another reason why they do it. It's just money for them. Oh, cool. And you answered my question about the asparagus. Second year. Okay, and then more every year. Yep. And I know you have to leave some to like go to seed and grow big and all that kind of stuff. Cool. So that's good. So maybe 2 years from now I'll have asparagus. Palin Hill, same here, frozen the late spring for the figs, yeah, but otherwise a bit of mulch is enough. Okay, yeah, so I mean it's just like the most severe winters is probably what's going to kill them. And hopefully the roots survive and then they'll just throw up new shoots. The Chaos Candle, hi, welcome, thanks for joining. Palin Hill, no running in the cold or rain, I'm a seasonal runner, and as soon as the temp drops under 15 I'm done. Oh wow, 15, man, that's kind of like, that's comfortable. I love running in 15. I think that's almost like ideal. It's not too warm, you're not sweating crazy, you know, like just dying. So I love running when it's like fall time and springtime. Those are like probably my favorite times to run. Yeah, I think anything to like even like 5 degrees, like positive 5 degrees Celsius, I'm happy to run in that. Once it gets below like minus, I don't know, whatever, maybe like 5 Celsius, then it's like pretty uncomfortable. I don't like that. But up until, you know, maybe like 5, I would say is still like really comfortable, and then below that kind of starts getting uncomfortable, with like -5 being kind of my limit of where I still will go out and usually run. Kathy, yeah, sounds interesting. Poor fox. Yeah, yep, we're going to talk about that. Also, can't believe trapping is still legal. They trap coyotes here in Canada for Canada Goose jackets. It's barbaric. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's a sad thing. And if people realize, like, the coyotes are just like dogs, basically. I mean, they, for all intents and purposes, they're just like pet animals. Like, they're so cute. And when people see, like, the actual traps and how they suffer, I mean, it's just like, I don't know how you could, like, buy a jacket like that. It's just insane. Carrie, yes, they are edge dwellers. I think urban sprawl and more edges are the biggest problem. Yeah, and I think those are often man-made too, for the deer. It's done specifically so that they can sell more hunting licenses. Kathy says, yes, humans definitely upset the balance of nature. Absolutely. And I think a lot of times there could be, you know, well-intentioned people who are trying to fix things, but they just don't realize, like, if they just stopped everything they're doing, it would probably be better than trying to actually fix something, because they're the ones who made the problem to begin with. But people the way we are, I think, like, it's in our minds that, like, well, you know, I broke it, now I should fix it. But it's like, you just don't realize that sometimes if you just left it alone, it would actually be better. But yeah, we'll see if I can touch on that topic as well. You know, I never, like I talked about in my video about hunting yesterday, I never actually, you know, got into like deer hunting or anything like that. I thankfully kind of stopped my foray into hunting. But I knew a lot of people who would go deer hunting, and you know, it's just, yeah, I really think like it's a big business. You pay, you know, quite a bit of money for the licenses for the game that you do shoot. Same thing with like turkeys and all this kind of stuff. That was pretty popular in Connecticut. A lot of people went like turkey hunting. Yeah, I guess like deer and turkey, those were like probably the most popular things that I knew of from the people that I knew that went hunting regularly. That was like what they would go for. Turkeys are actually really beautiful animals. Like, we were lucky enough to have a bunch of wild turkeys that would go through my parents' yard like pretty regularly, and I just thought they were like really cute. Like, there was at one point like a mother turkey, and then the little I don't know what they're called, like chicks or whatever, or hen, well, the hen and then the chicks, and they would go through, and my dog would always be like chasing them and stuff, but they, like, he never actually harmed them. It was just like he would chase them off the property. And a couple times I actually saw the turkey would actually fly up into a tree. They could fly like short distances, which a lot of people don't realize. So it's pretty cool to see them. I really like the turkeys. Yeah, Carrie, you had to turn me off with the squirrel fiasco. I don't blame you. It was kind of one of those videos where I didn't really know if I should make it or not, and I didn't know how people would take that. So yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, I look back on that and really kind of just feel ashamed. But I mean, I was just trying to, I don't know, tell my story so that people understand where I'm coming from, and maybe also like encourage people that when you're talking to somebody who may be a hunter, or maybe you know, like a hardcore full-on I gotta eat meat kind of person, that they can still change. Like, don't give up on them. So I think that's really just kind of what I was trying to stress with that video. But I can understand if it upset you, so sorry. Kathy, I love turkeys. They have such personality. Absolutely. I've never even really been around one close up. I mean, probably, like I say, the closest I was to one was like in the yard, and I could see it maybe, I don't know, 50 feet away or something. So I've never actually like pet one or something like in a sanctuary. I've seen, actually, okay, so actually no, I've seen one in the animal sanctuary here in Budapest. So that was closer by, but I didn't pet it or anything. It wasn't like that close. It was probably maybe like 5-10 feet away. But yeah, they are kind of like, I don't know, really cool looking, and I don't know, I've seen videos of them. they're really kind of just like funny little animals. But I think really all animals have their own little kind of personality, and like our dog is really funny. I love her. She's just like, she's such a badass. Like, I don't know, she just has like no regard for anything that anything that we try to tell her to do. She just, if she wants to do it, great, she'll do it, and if not, she's just like, screw you. Like, I'm doing my own thing. And I don't know, it's just funny. I think all animals really have kind of their own little thing. Bev says, I really appreciated your squirrel post. Brave move to open yourself to criticism for a bigger truth lesson. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Bev. I was thinking about it at first, though, because I was like, yeah, I don't know how this is gonna like come off, and so thanks. I guess that's good. It's hard because, you know, like, I think really just my main point is when we talk to people, like, we should just really not give up on them. I mean, if I can change, like, I really think like anybody can. It's just like getting the education, getting them to open their eyes and see things in a different way. And I mean, I feel ashamed. Like, one of the earliest videos I did was one on my 2nd year anniversary as a vegan. If anybody hasn't seen that one, I think maybe you'd enjoy that. But that one, I actually do kind of like apologize to the people in my life that have tried to kind of tell me about veganism or like just ethical, like vegetarianism even. And I really didn't want to hear that message. And for years, I had people in my life, coworkers, friends, people I knew, who would tell me this kind of stuff, and I was just like, whatever, like, didn't want to hear it. And it took me a long time. And then after I actually did kind of, change and make that connection and become really like an ethical vegan, some of the key people that I remembered at various points in my life, I sent them emails actually, and then I told them like, hey, like, thanks, I actually really do appreciate now in hindsight what you did for me, because I think you really did plant that seed. And it was like all the things that they said would be kind of coming back in my mind as I was doing my own little research and making things like those little aha moments. I was like, this is what my coworker so-and-so told me, and I chose to ignore and make fun of her for, and that kind of stuff. And I think like the main thing we can do is try to be compassionate towards people, even when they're just being like really hardcore, full-on carnist mode, because you just don't know when you might make a little breakthrough. So yeah, I think that's it. Carrie, I appreciated it, just couldn't listen to it. Yep, I totally get that too. My wife is like that. She's a very compassionate, like, loving person, and she can't watch any slaughterhouse footage or like any kind of like animal abuse video, like nothing. She can't even bear to hear about it. Like, I can't even tell her like, oh, there's this video about whatever. Like, she's just like, don't tell me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to imagine it. I don't want to think about it. And she became vegan almost like right after me. It was probably like a couple weeks later, and but like she just can't stomach that. And I think a lot of people are like that too, especially once you've made the ethical connection. You just don't want to see it. It's really painful. I mean, it's painful for me too, but I just feel like I almost like owe it to the animals to watch it. I had already been like an ethical vegan by the time I saw Earthlings, and it was so difficult. Like, I didn't even want to really see the whole thing, and I actually had to stop it a few times. So like, I didn't even watch it in one go. Like, I would stop it and then kind of go away, and then I'd come back like an hour later or something and watch some more of it, because it was just like really, really hard to watch. But I felt like it was important to see it, and there were definitely things in there that I learned that I didn't know about before that. So yeah, Kathy, it is good to share our stories. I think it makes it more relatable to people. Like, if they're like, oh, that jerk is just like me, like, I don't know, then they can maybe relate to it. You still can't watch Earthlings. Yeah, I don't blame you. I've tried to get my wife to watch it just because I think it's a great movie, but she's just like, no, I'm not gonna watch it. And she's still a really great advocate. She talks to people about it. She's tried to convince some of her friends, or even just steer them a little bit towards veganism, even if they're not going to be full-on vegan. But she tells them about the health benefits or like just the ethical side of things, but she can't watch it either. It's too painful. I think for a lot of people it is. Like, you just can't really turn off the emotions. It sucks kind of seeing that stuff. Anybody else? Any questions? Anything I should talk about? Or if you have any questions for the live stream with Ellie, hopefully tomorrow, I'll try to make sure I cover everything. Kathy, I try to educate people where I can without pissing them off. Yeah, I think it's a fine line, right? Because it's hard not to make somebody mad when you kind of call into question their ethics or their morals, and we really kind of have to do it in a way that I think if they can relate to you, it's easier. Like, you say, like, look, like, I wasn't born vegan. I wasn't raised to believe that. In fact, I was raised to believe the opposite. In fact, I still get a lot of grief from my family about being vegan. So yeah, it's actually kind of difficult. And sometimes it's easier to talk to strangers, I find. I don't know if you guys feel that way too, or Kathy, like if when you talk to people, like do you find that too? I've seen a lot of activists say this, but it's harder, I think, to convince your family and friends than it is to like convince a stranger. I found like coworkers were pretty easy to talk to. Usually, some people get really defensive, but most of the time, I found that coworkers were easier to talk to than people in my family. Peter says, I found a dove last week. Thought it has a broken wing. Oh, and broke his wing. Took it to a rescue place, and they told me that it had been shot. Jeez, man. Who the heck shoots a dove? That's insane. Oof. Ugh. That's like heartbreaking. That just really goes to show you, like, somebody's just being cruel. Like, I mean, you're not gonna... That's not even for, like, I don't know. There's just no point for that. Yeah, this is, yep, families are the toughest. Yeah, I think so too. I just think because, like for my parents, like, I can speak from personal experience, like, I think what happens is, like, subconsciously, they have this thing that it's like you're attacking them because you're calling into question their morals, their take, like I just feel like they automatically take it as an attack on like something that you are like pointing out a failing on their part somehow, or something like that. That they take it as a personal affront. Like, why is it that you know, didn't I teach you enough? Didn't I teach you the right thing or whatever? And I think that's probably what I find to be the most challenging with my parents specifically. But yeah, I think, like, sometimes with a stranger it's easier because they, you know, there's no like prior, they don't really know you. There's no, yeah, I guess, like prejudice, like prior like prejudice about, like, well, I used to know that guy when he was cooking up ribs and, you know, making fun of the guy for eating tofu and whatever. And it's like, if they know that about you, it's like it's probably easier for them to be dismissive about the message. Where if they don't know you at all, maybe it's easier sometimes just to get the conversation going. Anyway, and kudos, Peter, for bringing that you know, dove in to the rescue place. I mean, hopefully they can treat it. I'm always kind of amazed at you know, rescue organizations and stuff. My wife actually rescued a bird here like a couple months back. I don't remember when that was. I think it was like in the end of the summer or maybe fall time. They found a bird out in the backyard, and they sent a person out from the rescue place, and we were able to, like, well, I wasn't even home at that time, but my wife was able to, like, pick up the bird, get it in a box, and they took it in for you know, for treatment. So that was really cool. It's also hard to sit at dinner with them while they are eating animals, but I still want to spend time with them, so it's difficult. I just bring my own food. Yep, that's a good way to do it. I actually am a big fan of, as difficult as it might be, but basically not alienating yourself from non-vegans, because I think once you do that, you're pretty much cut off, and there's no chance that that you'll make a breakthrough to them. If you do bring your own food, a lot of times people will eat from that as well, because they'll just try it and they'll be naturally curious. It's like, oh, that looks like pretty nice, or it smells good, or whatever, and they'll taste some and they'll realize, like, oh, you're not just eating salad. Like, there's, you know, good options for them. And then if they start seeing that it's tasty and everything, that could be a good way to open it up. So Carrie says, I do attack them. Yeah, I don't blame you. Sometimes it's hard. I've had fights with my siblings and stuff, so I can definitely relate. Bev, I used to make my own salamis, chorizo, pancetta, etc., toe-to-tail approach, and roadkill to boot. Wow. I actively tell people this is as a premise for if I can do it approach. Wow, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, again, it's kind of like the more relatable you are kind of thing. Like, sometimes that helps. I think it just really depends on the person. And for some people, kind of the angry approach might be okay. That's why I also try to reserve judgment from anybody's advocacy approach. Like, I know a lot of vegans will sometimes get mad at kind of the angry vegan, or the angry vegan will get mad at the kind of like chill, mellow vegan. But I think all of them are good, because sometimes really like people respond weirdly, like you just don't know. I know I didn't respond well to kind of I didn't respond well to either like the angry or the chill, mellow, you know, philosophical kind of vegan, but some people do one or the other, and I think there's a place for everything. So I think it's better to be an advocate of any style than to not be an advocate at all. So that's my take on that. Kathy, people in rescue are amazing. I can't imagine what they go through on a daily basis. Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff they see, oof. I saw a video on Twitter recently that somebody had posted. It was an animal rescue place in India, and they were treating a dog that had like the most horrific injuries that I think I've ever seen like in my life. I mean, it looked like its whole face was basically like ripped off. I mean, I'm sorry for being graphic, but they were thankfully able to save that dog, and luckily one of its eyes was actually still you know, like working and functional and everything, and they healed the dog. It lived for like another 3 years in the sanctuary, and yeah, kudos to those people, man. I mean, holy cow, like just it's sort of like people that work in ER, like I don't know if like Hoople's cat will be watching this or anything. If anybody, shout out to Hoople's cat. If you're not aware, he's got a channel. He's a vegan, and he does like a prep kind of channel, emergency preparedness videos. He also does like vegan kind of stuff too, but for the most part, it's like a emergency prep channel. And he works in an ER, and just, you know, you watch some of his videos and like some of the stuff that they see, and phew, man, I don't know how people can do that stuff. And the same thing with the animal rescue, like some of the things that these people see, it's just absolutely incredible. Like I don't know how they can do it. I would just be like bawling my eyes out like every night or something. Like I can't really imagine myself dealing with that kind of stress like day in, day out. I don't know how they do it. It's absolutely incredible. Peter, hi Peter. Any thoughts on recent folks quitting veganism? Yes. Okay. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Bobby. I talked very briefly about him in the other stream. I want to maybe do like a proper response video to him. I actually haven't watched the most recent videos he's done, because it seems like he's just gone full on like hardcore into vegan bashing mode for the views mode. I don't know, but just based on the thumbnails and the title of the videos of his most recent ones, I feel like that's probably what he's doing. Yeah, that kind of like just I will probably, hi Leon, thanks for joining. I will probably do like a proper response, but I really get the feeling that he's actually kind of like playing almost like a little view game, doing it for the views and the attention and extra, you know, subs or whatever that he'll probably get, because he's been kind of like leading up to this. So like a few weeks back, I remember seeing a video where he was talking about kind of like the ethics of veganism, and he was making the claim that like somebody who's living a Western style vegan diet was probably less you know, ethical, or doing slightly more harm than somebody who was like living off the land and like, you know, killing their own animals and stuff, and just eating like fully locally and what have you. And you know, I definitely took some issues with some of the things he said in that video. Carrie, it's Bobby's Perspective, that's the channel name, and he used to be called Bobby's Raw Perspective, and he was big into like raw foods and whatever. And this actually is another point that I kind of want to address, is that I know I had the live stream with Logan, and oh shoot, what is his name? I can't believe I forgot his name. He's a super nice guy, Dave Craves Raw, and he's a big proponent of like raw foods, and you know, doing a lot of fruit and all this kind of stuff. And I really like the guy. I got no problem with Dave, and we talked about this on the stream. My biggest concern with people eating raw vegan diets is that I just see almost like I don't know if it's like without fail, every single ex-vegan person that I see, they're literally all at some point doing a raw vegan diet. And I'm I'm not at all saying that every single person who does a raw vegan diet is going to become an ex-vegan, but I do see it as a common thing that every ex-vegan seems to be, at least at some point in their like past, a raw vegan. And that to me just, it doesn't bode well. Like, I think it's certainly possible to be healthy and be getting a complete diet on a raw vegan diet, but I just think it's a lot harder and you have to really be paying attention. Whereas I think if you do a kind of just a balanced, regular kind of whole food, you know, vegan diet, and just do occasional like vegan junk food just for like keeping your mental kind of like, you know, stability, and like eating some cake and junk food every once in a while, I think just like really makes your mood be good. Like, I think if you just do that, it's super easy, and it's like you don't need to be so concerned about like am I getting enough this and that and whatever. You know, take a vitamin B12, eat like a variety of whole foods, and just every once in a while like the, you know, the mock meats and the processed vegan junk food, and you're fine. I really think like it's like that's the way to go. You know, the starch solution kind of with an occasional cheat of like vegan junk, I think is great. Like, it's like you just can't really mess with that. And I just think like there's so many of these people that they're just always looking for that, like it's got to be perfect and it's got to be this and that, and they're just making it so complex, so hard for themselves. And I think he's like probably one of those people, you know, he's saying he's tried all these diets and he's trying to do the bodybuilding thing and all this kind of stuff. I mean, if you know anything about bodybuilding, you'll know that it's not really healthy. It's not good for you. You know, for men to be that low body fat, for women especially, I mean, it's like ridiculously bad. But for men especially, I mean, sorry, for men even, it's not especially, but I think for women especially, it's just not good. It's not healthy. A lot of these people, it's detrimental to them, and he's obviously big into bodybuilding, and yeah, I don't know like what he thinks he's gonna find by going back to eating animal products, but it definitely seems just from like his thumbnails and his titles that he's following the vegetable police train, and yeah, I just don't, I don't know. I missed some comments here. Let me scroll back here. Kathy says, I can't stand it when they start saying this turkey is so good or whatever. Oh, and they're praising the kids for eating their meat. Yeah, that's for the family get-togethers. Yep, definitely. I actually have a tough time sometimes with my kids because they're still really little, and you know, family get-togethers definitely have lots of non-vegan food, and then it's always kind of like a challenge trying to navigate them around to. So I always want to make sure that like we have really good options that they like, and you know, thankfully it's really easy to make. You know, vegan treats and stuff that everybody likes. In fact, this past Christmas, I think the stuff we brought was probably more popular even with the other kids from the non-vegan families than the non-vegan treats were. So it was really cool. Nikki, hi Nikki. I've watched a few of the India animal aid videos. I made myself watch one, and the puppy was so happy running around in the end. I watched lots after that. Yep, that video was really powerful. I think you're thinking of the same one probably, or maybe there's other ones too, but that dog one was pretty incredible. Peter says, like Bobby, another person looking for perfect health, eventually go back to meat. Yeah, and it's like, I don't even think they'll find it, you know. I think that's one of the really kind of funny things is that like you have like vegetable police. I've unsubscribed, I've stopped watching his videos, but every once in a while the stupid YouTube algorithm always tries to make me like watch it, and you know, thankfully my will is usually pretty strong, so I just like ignore it. But I do see the thumbnail, and it's just like it's so blatantly obvious, like you know, whatever they call that, clickbait kind of stuff. It's like, come on, man, like he's just being a jerk. Like I don't think he's like he's not gonna be healthy. He's clearly not healthy. The stuff he had one where it was like he went on another water fast, and then he broke it with whatever, I don't know, an egg, and then he ended up in the hospital or something. That was from the title and the thumbnail alone that I got that. And it's like, did that not teach you something? Like maybe you shouldn't be doing stuff like that. Like, I don't know, Bobby's eating eggs now, and then in his latest thumbnail he's got meat there, and he's calling, you know, vegan matrix sludge food in the title. It's like, come on, man. Like, that's just, you know, he's trying to instigate people and rile people up. It's like, I'll probably watch some of his videos just to do a proper response, and then like that'll probably be the end of it. I mean, I offered to talk to him a couple weeks ago when he put up that video that I mentioned, and got no response. So yeah, I feel bad because I actually kind of liked his stuff. I was just getting into his channel like you know, pretty recently. So yeah, it's kind of a shame. Leon, he tried avoiding standing behind the ethics when it came up. Yeah, I think he did that in several videos, like pretty recently, and I think that's why I'm saying I think he was kind of like planning out his little thing. It was like he was hinting at things, like he was saying stuff like, you know, I've been a vegan for 4 years, like, will I always be vegan? I don't know, like, who knows? He was always like kind of like hinting at things in the most recent videos. Kathy, vegetable please is harming his health now, in my opinion. He's eating raw chicken and raw eggs now in Thailand. Okay, wow, that's great. Yeah, good luck. I saw a thumbnail where he was talking about Agenus vonderplants. He clearly hasn't seen my video with Logan and Planton debunking Agenus. You know, it is crazy. That video is actually pretty popular. There's a lot of people still watching that. It comes up every once in a while. I get a couple comments, you know, every, I don't know, few days, maybe 3-4 days, I get a comment on that video. And invariably lately, it's just all from like people who are supporting Agenus and the primal diet. And literally every single one of them that has left a comment on that video, it's just beyond ridiculous. It really shows you kind of the mentality and the kind of intelligence level of the people leaving the comments, because they are literally, every single person, they're like, you're an idiot, you're stupid. They're like name calling me, and they're like, you didn't debunk anything and whatever. And they will literally not say a single thing to refute anything that any one of the three of us says in that video. There's no links to studies, there's no links to anything, there's no explanations of anything. It's just, you're stupid, you're ugly, whatever. You know, this is the kind of response. And I'm polite to every single one of them, and if anybody wants to laugh, like, go read through them. Like the most recent one, it was like the same thing, and I just wrote back like, you know, please enlighten me, like send me anything, like I'll gladly read it. I'm always looking for new information, and I always want to challenge my beliefs. Like please, you know, send me something and I'll read it. And it's like no response. So it's just really funny. Hi Vohan. Thought vegetable please went back to a plant-based diet. No, I think he just did that for reviews. There was a video that he had where he says that he's vegan again now, and then literally the next day it's like he's eating raw beef or something. So it's like, or a lamb, or I don't know, whatever it was. So yeah, I don't think he's any better off than he was a couple weeks ago. Leon, vegetable please damaged his health pretty much throughout his YouTube career. I absolutely would agree with that. I think he's just been on this roller coaster of craziness like the whole time. There have been previous times where I've stopped watching him for the same kind of thing, when he was just doing this like you know, high fat, low carb, like vegan, and then he had the whole like egg thing. I really didn't appreciate the humor in those videos, and as it turns out, he was eating eggs after that. So it's like, I don't know, I just not cool. Long term, I'm sure he's harming his health by what he's doing, and who knows what kind of parasites and, you know, like salmonella and whatever else he's gonna contract by eating all this crap now. Yeah, Kathy, you answered it for about 5 minutes. Now back to raw meat. He needs a career. Yeah, he needs to, I don't know, lose his subscribers so he stops making money from his channel, because I think as long as he keeps making money from his channel, it's going to encourage him to do more crazy stuff to get the views, and it's working. He's getting more and more subscribers. I don't know, I try to not give him his attention anymore, so I don't watch his videos, but that's the best I can do. Leon, he used to have a girlfriend before he went to Thailand. I don't know, does he still claim that they're together? I don't know. Kathy says, I think he still does. She's in Canada. He's returning to Canada next month. Okay, yeah. Leon, I really doubt she's still with him. Yeah, I can't imagine that you would have a long-term relationship that would be able to be sustained that long with no interaction. Like, it's not like she just went out and, like, you know, maybe like 3 months later came and visited him, stayed a couple weeks, and then went back or something like that. Like, I just can't really believe. Yeah, damn, is she still with that idiot? I can't imagine that they would still be together. And I mean, he's not that young either, so it's like, I mean, just speaking from my personal experience, like, by that age, he's only a few years younger than me, I think, if I remember right. He's like in his mid to late 30s or something like that. So, like, by that age, like, most people are either getting kind of serious, or like if you're in a relationship, like you want it to go somewhere, you know, like why would you be with somebody that you're like talk on Skype with, like, you know, I mean, geez, I don't know. I can't imagine that that's any kind of serious relationship at this point. She needs to get some self-confidence. Yeah, if she's still with him, I would agree with you, Leon. We'll learn the truth when he comes back. Who knows, Kathy? Will we learn the truth? I don't know. Does he tell you the truth? I don't know. I kind of don't think so. And then who else was a recent ex-vegan? So there's this Bonnie Rebecca person. I wasn't familiar with that channel at all. I just watched earlier today the video by Mike the Vegan talking about that channel, and I guess like her boyfriend Tim or somebody. Anyway, if anybody watches, you guys probably know it way better than me, but they became ex-vegans now, although not full-on like raw meat crazy people, but just like started eating small amounts of fish and eggs, kind of thing. And yeah, I think Mike, you know, nailed it. Like, I don't know them, I didn't watch the video, but like all the points he talked about, I think he was just like really sympathetic. He was like totally polite and, you know, trying to be helpful to them, and I think that's the way to do it. So if I make one of these videos about Bobby, like that's what I'll try to do as well. But again, with them, without knowing their full story, like in the Mike the Vegan video, you can see that they were into the whole raw fruit, you know, kind of diet as well. I just think like extremes are bad. Like I know, you know, the whole carnist view is always like, oh, everything in moderation, and that's why you can eat bacon, you know. But like to some extent, everything in moderation is actually not that bad of advice, you know. Like in a vegan context as well. Like I think everything in moderation. Like eat some potatoes, eat some rice, eat some beans, eat some greens, and, you know, veggies and lettuce, and eat some tofu and eat some mock meat every once in a while. Like I don't think it's bad to have, you know, seitan and tofu. Like yeah, man. I mean, like I just think like, yeah, okay, 30 bananas a day, maybe not such a great idea. Like I mean, it's just, I don't know. Peter says, Freely made a response to Rebecca. Some people will see it as real aggressive. Haven't seen it. Compared to the Mike one, probably will be, just knowing Freely. Yeah, I don't know. And to some extent, again, it depends. You know, I'm not gonna blame Freely approach either, the angry approach. Some people need that, and maybe somebody watching that, maybe not Ani directly, but maybe somebody watching that will react well to it, and they might be like, wow, you know, like it's a slap in the face, but it's the cold kind of, you know, shower that I needed to wake up, and who knows. Kathy, balanced diet is best. I agree. I really think like it's just, I don't know. And you know, the balance that the everything in moderation that people preach when they're eating kind of an omnivorous diet and eating animal products, it's really funny. But if you think about that and actually did what people say that they should do or whatever, I truly believe we wouldn't be in the mess we are. Because I think if you look at you know, people eating traditional diets throughout the world, even people that did eat small amount of animal products, the key there is small amounts. So like if you look at the you know, the Okinawan diet that was measured in the 40s there, you know, after World War II, I mean, they were eating like 90 whatever percent, 96% of their calories from plant foods, and the 4% were coming from animal products. If everybody just did that in the whole wide world, like across the board, I mean, at that point you would just have pretty much nothing to go on except the ethical argument for veganism, I would say. Because I truly believe the health difference between that and a full-on like whole foods plant-based diet is probably so minimal that, like, you know, it's like, okay, maybe you'll live an extra year or something. Like, I don't know, I can't imagine that it would be like enough that you would be able to convince somebody that, like, you know, okay, maybe you'll live to be 96 instead of 95. Like it would just, people would be like, okay, screw that, I don't care. But like, that's not what people do. What people do is they say, I do everything in moderation, and they're eating animal products like, you know, 4 or 5 times a day. It's like, that's not moderation. But, you know, and I'm not advocating for that, obviously, but I'm just saying that, like, I think the the health argument would be almost like a moot point, and I think that the environmental would be a lot less than it is now. I mean, I'm sure there would still be some argument on both of those levels, but it would be like splitting hairs. We wouldn't be in the mess we're in. So yeah, it's just, that's why, like, I'm always hesitant with the whole raw diet thing. And when Dave was on, you know, I made it expressly clear to him that I don't claim that you can't be healthy on a raw vegan diet. I absolutely think you can, but I think where I've been doing, you know, kind of my vegan diet for 3.5 years now, almost, or whatever, I've never really like felt any kind of concern that I wasn't getting enough of whatever. But if I were doing a raw vegan diet, I would absolutely be tracking stuff like really hardcore, really seriously. I would be concerned that I would be deficient in something, because I think I would just have to plan my meals that much more. And being busy and being a parent and you know, with the house move and everything that we have going on, like, I just can't imagine like how I would be able to get through the day where I would have to know, like, okay, I gotta still eat this or that, or I don't know, maybe I would just like take more of a supplement kind of approach. I don't know. Like, I just think it would be more difficult, and I'm absolutely certain it could be possible, but I think for just busy people and yeah, I don't really think I don't think it would be that easy. So yeah, I'm not sure what's up, you know, if there's other people that I've missed too, but I mean, it just seems like every week or two there's like another person going. And I actually haven't gone into any of Tim Sheep's videos lately. I don't know if he's back on Team Vegan, or is he like still eating the fish and the eggs. I don't know if anybody has watched that, but he's like another one of these people where he's like chasing this like optimal health kind of like vision. And a lot of times what these people kind of forget is that they had certain kind of imperfect health before adopting a vegan diet. And most of these people, in all of their stories, they get better to some extent, but they don't get perfect. And then that is enough to be like, well, it didn't work. So then they go back to something that's going to probably make them even worse in the long run. It's like they're not really thinking about it logically. Like, anyway. Kathy, any idea what the time the hunting stream is on tomorrow? It should be right around the same time, so 12 noon Eastern time. And I'm really hoping that it's going to happen, but I got to confirm it with Ellie tomorrow. It will probably happen then, and if it doesn't, I'm sorry, but I'll try to still make it at a roughly convenient time and similar time. Might be on a different day. Tim hasn't said as far as I know. Okay, yeah, so I don't know. I mean, he's another person where like I really liked his content for quite a bit, kind of early on in my like vegan experience. Like I was watching a lot of his videos and I actually found them to be very cool and very entertaining and very informative. And he had like really good kind of like I don't know, kind of like just interesting content. Like really liked his stuff. And then he started getting all weird and going into the raw, you know, food kind of thing. And I remember being concerned even just watching those videos like a year ago when he was just all about like the raw food, and he was doing these videos where he was just talking about like, you know, like we know that the raw vegan diet is the best and it's the most, you know, this and that. And I was like, no, we don't, and please don't go there. And I was kind of like rooting for him to not like go off the deep end. And then before you know, he was like drinking his own urine, and it's like that was not a good sign. Leon says, I heard he's following Goji Man's instructions now. Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully he gets some help. Personally, like, I would definitely go see somebody like in, you know, in my actual area. Like, I would go physically see a doctor, like, if I started experiencing problems. Oh, bye, Carrie. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. You're awesome, too. Yeah, if anybody isn't subscribed to Carrie's channel, like, please do go and subscribe to her channel. She's awesome. She's got so many cool videos and does great recipe videos too. So thanks, Carrie. Yeah, so like going to Goji Man, it's like, okay, great. I mean, I've watched several of his videos. I'm subscribed to his channel. I like his message in general. But yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would go to Goji Man, quite frankly. I would go to somebody that I can, you know, physically like talk to and see, and you know, maybe get a second opinion and all that kind of stuff too. Like, I certainly wouldn't just assume, like, if I go to the first doctor I see and they say, oh, start eating eggs and fish and you'll be fine, I wouldn't take that as an answer necessarily, or like right off the bat. But you know, I just think like this fear of like going to see an actual like doctor and trying to diagnose like what it is you have wrong with you before you start going back to animal products. It's just, it's mind-boggling to me. That's why I have the beef kind of with the beef with you know, with Bobby, because it's like he's talking about in that video when he's talking about the mushroom told him to eat an egg. It's like that whole video just kind of stinks. Like, I just don't. It's like he's talking about, oh, he's had this like pain in his heart, and it's like, but he's never talked about it before, and then, you know, the mushroom experience like tells him to go eat the egg, and then he eats literally one egg, and his pain in his heart that he's been feeling for weeks, like months, is gone instantaneously, and his libido is through the roof. I mean, it's just like, come on, dude. Like, I just can't even believe it. I mean, if anybody's watched the video with Foot Soldier, he did a good one there. He didn't mention Bobby by name, but I'm pretty sure he was talking about him specifically. You know, he tells his own story about how people can get it in their mind and have these like little mind tricks. Like, you can really kind of mentally make yourself feel, I don't even know what the right word for it is, but like physical symptoms that may not be there. And I think that's, if anything, if somebody's being genuine, one of these ex-vegan stores, I think maybe that's the case. But again, it's like, if you have pain in your heart for weeks on end, like, why on earth would you not go see a doctor? Like, you know, why would you not go and like get what do you call that, an EKG, the electrocardiogram, or like the I'm always terrible with these things. I forget, like, it's not an X-ray. What is it? The ultrasound, or like, you know, like, why wouldn't you go and get somebody checked out? You know, get yourself checked out. Yeah, Kathy, I absolutely think that was a good video. I give him a big thumbs up for that. Leon, spiritual vegans are way too occupied with themselves. They're extremely selfish, mostly, almost by definition. Yeah, I would kind of agree with that. I mean, anybody who's telling me that, you know, their ethical direction or morals are dictated by a mushroom psychedelic trip, like, that's not, I mean, that's just not okay in my book. Like, and he says, like, you know, that is what helped cure his depression and his physical ailments in the past and whatever. And it's like, okay, I could even understand that. I mean, I don't even knock maybe the therapeutic effects of certain types of hallucinogens or drugs in general, or like, you know, various medicinal kind of like you know, things. I mean, look at how much information is coming out now about the use of medicinal marijuana and all this kind of stuff. So I mean, there's absolutely something that, you know, plants can be a healing, you know, factor, or whatever you want to call it. But to think that, you know, the mushroom somehow tells you to go eat an egg, I mean, come on, dude. Like, that story was just beyond lame. So yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Not a fan of that. Cool. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna probably end it here. Hope it was enjoyable. And sorry that, again, we didn't do the hunting live stream. Hopefully Ellie and I can get together tomorrow and we'll do it then. If anybody has questions that you want me to cover or discuss with Ellie about the you know, hunting topic, maybe just throw them in the previous video's comments, and then you know, I'll make sure to cover those, like, in the stream with her. And yeah, and if you guys enjoyed this and like the live Q&A, then feel free to put questions in here for maybe like a future one that I'll do, or just, yeah, I'll try to do maybe some of these you know, more regularly. And hopefully with this better camera you guys can hear me better, and the picture seems a lot clearer. I did a quick recording test like before I went live, and it seems like it's a lot better. Cool. Thanks, Kathy. Thanks for being on. Thanks, Bev. Thanks, Leon. Thanks, Palin Ho, Peter, everybody, Carrie. So yeah, thanks everybody, and see you guys in the next one. Bye.